Carter. Producer is Danny Miles. Engineer Mike Purtle. Statistician Matt Laricia. Spotter Jeff Dalpiaz. The general manager is Robert Blum. And the executive producer of Compass Media Network Sports is Tyler Brewer. Don't forget, plenty more great football action coming up. Next Sunday, Cowboys open up home play with a matchup against the Saints, plus heavyweight showdown in the AFC as the Chiefs host the Cincinnati Bengals. Be sure to check your local listings for game times and stations. Once again, our final, the Cowboys beat the Browns 33-17. Now for Kevin Ray and Steve Berline, I'm Jerry Recco. You've been listening to the NFL on Compass Media Network.
All right, everyone. Welcome to the Mean Gene Show here on ESPN 97.5 H-Town. You know what? We might be late, but we ain't never behind. Okay? Want to thank you for listening to the Dallas Cowboys versus the Cleveland Browns. So that's why we're running a little bit late. And it's going to be like that sometimes because, we got to do the whole wrap-up show with the Cowboys. But, hey, let's just say big win. Congratulations to the Dallas Cowboy fans. Now, I know. Look, okay, we'll say that here, even though the Texans is what we really want to talk about today, and that's what we're going to be talking about today, along with all of the scores and updates and highlights from week 1 of the NFL. But hey, the Cowboys get it done. They get it done in big fashion over the Cleveland Browns. And my man, AJ, behind the wheels of steels, AJ, I know you're happy because you've been smiling ever since I walked in here.
Yeah, I'm happy about the win for sure. But main thing is postseason. We signed Dak. You got your money now, bro. So it's time to hoop and when it matters most. I'm encouraged that the defense looked really good, stopping the run. Mike Zimmer being there this year. I was really encouraged. 2 interceptions. Trevon Diggs got an interception as well. Eric Kendricks. The team, they look good defensively, obviously, but I mean, we know it doesn't matter what you do for the first 17, 18 weeks. What are you going to do in round 1, round 2
True,
potentially? So
true. But hey, 33-17 win Cowboys over the Browns. That's got to be exciting. And look, the whole contract thing, Dak Prescott is a paid man. Went out there. I don't know if you saw the the pregame when the guys are walking to the, walking into the locker room, when they got their suits on. He had a strut today that looked like that's a $250 million walk right
yeah,
there.
that's new money right there. You
That's
saw
new
that for
money
sure.
right there. So hey, I'm not mad at the guy, Jerry Jones. Look, Cowboys do it the way they do it. Who knows? People felt that contract was going to be signed today. So hey, they get the win. And boy, we'll talk about that game a little bit later. But man, Deshaun Watson, yikes! One man gets money and look like the other one is going to have to give some back. But hey, we'll get to that. Jacob Meadows not here today. He's somewhere camping, and he cannot connect because the signal is bad. And I said, well, don't even bother calling in because you sucked in fantasy football today anyway. So we're going to be talking about that. NFL Week 1 is here. We're going to break down that Thursday night Chiefs versus Ravens. Then what about the Friday night, a rare Friday night football, Packers and Eagles? And Packers fans, I know you are not happy because your guy, Jordan Love, yikes, went out with an injury. It looked like a MCL injury, which is not as bad as the ACL, but he's going to be out for a couple of games. So 12 games played today, and we will take a look at that, including how the 3 rookie starting quarterbacks performed today. The Bears, woo, wait till we talk about that and we're going to wait because we have a disgruntled Tennessee Titans fan is going to call in because, man, they thought they had that game won. They probably should have had that game won, but they didn't. Anyway, big, big, big win for the Chicago Bears. And of course, we will have updates from the Sunday night football lines. And the Rams are going to be starting up here pretty soon. So look here, what you should do is just turn your TV down, listen to the Mean Gene Show. Okay, because I'm gonna give you updates. I'm gonna give you all the updates from this game. This is going to be a good game. I'm watching it and I got it turned down. So why can't you do the same? And of course, we got to get into the fantasy football impacts updates. Look, I'm in 3 leagues. AJ, I think I'm afraid to say I think I'm losing all 3 of them.
For real,
And that's just not a good way to start the fantasy football season.
Oh, not at all. I know I lost one because Joe Burrow. Oh my gosh, they
Yeah,
lost how they
that's
played.
another one.
Psh, that was bad. But I know my ESPN, I'm winning. But that
Oh,
was bad. Mark Andrews too. I had him starting. Isaiah Likely, he
yeah.
took all his touches.
And that
pretty
kind of
much.
happened last year, too. So
Mhm.
we'll talk about that, folks. But hey, it's going to be a quick, fast moving show. What we're going to do now is take a break. When we come back, we getting all into week 1 of the National Football League here. This is the Mean Gene Show right here on ESPN 97.5 H-Town.
You're listening to the Mean Gene Show
on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5.
for the Veritex Community Bank Studios. Here's Mean Gene.
Let's make sure. Oh, very close. The runner's toe hit out of bounds. It's an incomplete pass. The game is over.
And the game is over. That's basically how things went for the Thursday night game. Ravens versus the Chiefs. Chiefs win 27-20. What looked like it was going to be a tie game, perhaps going to overtime. The momentum was clearly with the Baltimore Ravens. And you heard it right there, the call, Mike Tirico and Chris Collinsworth. Man, that game right there, the Ravens and Chiefs, what we saw, a rematch of the AFC Championship game from last year. Chiefs get it done. Say what you will. That was a very interesting game. And, AJ, I tell you what, I don't know if anyone had Xavier Worthy on their fantasy football. I have never seen so many rookies, and he was the first one to clown that Thursday night. But this week, man, it's been nothing. Today, really, it's been nothing but rookies just showing out. And what a win for the Chiefs.
Right, exactly. All the rookies except the rookie I drafted, Marvin Harrison Jr. I just saw he had one reception for 4 yards. So and the Cardinals, they started off good that game too, though. But I guess he wasn't implemented it. So
yeah, they did. So look here, the Chiefs are still the Chiefs, folks. You're gonna have to beat these guys. Now, look, I don't know if they're gonna get back to the Super Bowl, but you'd be a damn fool not to really put your money on them that they are going to make a deep run, and they got it done against the Baltimore Ravens. You just couldn't do any more. Isaiah Likely, man, a lot of people had Mark Andrews. They thought he would be the one out there receiving most of those passes from Lamar. And then another thing I noticed about that particular game on Thursday night is that Derrick Henry looked like he was going to be in for a stellar night. Then he disappears. And next thing you know, Lamar runs the ball, which I think is a great scheme for the Ravens if they use it right. I just think Derrick Henry should have been a little bit more involved in the second half. But anyway, the Chiefs prevailed and get that win. And on Friday night, so we have the soundbite from the last 5 seconds of that game between the Packers and Eagles over in Sao Paulo, Brazil. And here you go.
Just trying to make a play, extend it, keep this game alive. And the franchise quarterback for a franchise that has had nothing but franchise quarterbacks in the last 32 years is down with 5 seconds left.
It was Jalen Carter and Josh Sweat.
Yeah, that was unfortunate right there. Jordan Love goes down the last, 5 seconds of the game. Malik Willis, thank God they signed him to come in, and he didn't really have to do a whole lot of work there. But man, what a way to to end a game, which they were trying to come back. And I mean, hey, it happens. They lose the game. Eagles win 34-29. And it was just unfortunate what happened to Jordan Love. But like I say, the latest report on Love is that he will probably miss 5 to 6 weeks, I believe, and with an MCL, which is not the same as an ACL, which could have ended his season. But man, it's still going to be a major loss for a team that a lot of other people had, going deep into the playoffs, which. We'll see what Malik Willis do. How about these chances that these quarterbacks get? The Tennessee Titans bring this guy on, and they, thought he would be the future, and that didn't work out. They ended up with Will Levis, and so this year they parted ways with Malik Willis. And look, man, we say it all the time. One man's trash is another's treasure. So the Green Bay Packers do have a quarterback, and who knows, a star may or may not be born with Malik Willis. So hey, but unfortunate. But anyway, big win for the Eagles. And let's talk about Saquon Barkley. I tell you what, I did not draft him this year, knowing that here's a guy that's come off a major season-ending injury. He's with another team, and oh my goodness, the Eagles like their new toy, AJ.
Yeah, definitely. He looks like how McCaffrey has impacted the 49ers right now. And I will say Jalen Hurts, he didn't look the best with those 2 interceptions, stuff like that. But that team in the running game now with Saquon, I mean, it really opens up a lot for the team overall. So we'll see how they do. It does suck for the Packers though, because I mean Jordan Love, even when he comes back, they were poised to have a really good season. We'll see. I also saw some rumors about Ryan Tannehill potentially having conversations with the Packers. So that's another element. But yeah, for the
Yeah.
Eagles, they definitely looked nice in that first game for
Well,
sure.
that would be interesting if they would put Ryan Tannehill with Malik Willis, because Ryan Tannehill wanted no part of Malik Willis
Exactly.
when they drafted him with the Titans. So, hey, things change when you don't have a job, right? When you're Ryan Tannehill and you're sitting out there and you're pretty much, watching TV like the rest of us do on Sundays. And now he's, I guess, I don't blame the Packers. Play it safe here. Uh, both of those guys. I mean, if Willis don't get it done, I would go after Ryan Tannehill. I don't blame them at all. So Texans, the Houston Texans get it done today. Which I tell you what, AJ, this was a very interesting game because I didn't know. Um, anytime you open up against a division rival such as the Indianapolis Colts, which play the Texans well all the time, and this was a nail biter of a game. Texans win 29-27, so they take the early jump on the AFC South, which I think this is going to go according to plans like we thought. But I tell you what, Anthony Richardson is back. And, the Texans are going to play these guys again. But this was a great game. This was a really good game to watch. I enjoyed it. And CJ Stroud, he is, hey, it's the first game, which, if people tell you not to panic, but when you're playing a division rival, you got to panic a little bit. So, how about Fairbairn, the kicker? Today was a day for kickers.
Oh yeah,
Boswell,
most definitely. Aubrey too.
Boswell, yeah, I mean, this was a day for kickers. And we talk about that Steelers game a little bit, but man, just a major win. Um, it started out slow, 7-6 there in the first quarter, and we get 2 field goals there. Texans do in the second, and then in the third quarter, we continue on, and it really didn't look like that offense showed up until the fourth quarter.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
Are you pleased with? I mean, do you want Justin Fields to play in week 2, even if Russell Wilson is healthy?
Uh, yeah, well, yeah, because we didn't really see nothing. It was all the Boswell
Right.
show for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So yeah, but yeah, so yeah, we're gonna see, because I tell you what, I can't wait to talk about that one in a minute. But look, I mean, it wasn't really bad. CJ, not he didn't hit the 300-yard, but look, he did get a 115.9 quarterback rating, which wasn't good, and that's based on 24 of 32 for 234. Um, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. You remember this was an incredible record he had last year to start. And then Anthony Richardson didn't do bad at all. He had a 101.2 quarterback rating, 9 of 19, 212, 2 touchdowns, and he had that pick. But that's that Texans defense. And you're going to see a lot of that, which I did have the Texans defense in my fantasy football.
That's pretty good. I mean, they did allow some points, but were overall able to shut things down. But Anthony Richardson, he did look good. Had 2 explosive plays, 2 50+ yard touchdowns, pretty much. So, or at least completions. So yeah, the Colts, they definitely look like a contender for sure in the AFC South, most definitely. And even the Jaguars, they lost today. They blew a lead, but that's going to be a pretty good 3-team race right there.
It's going to be, yeah, it will be. And how about Stephon Diggs, who, Texans not wasting any time getting him into the offense. He was a key. They made him a captain, right? So he's out there getting it done. But how about the running game for the Texans? For those of you who thought, well, I don't know, man, we let Singletary get out of here, we may have made a mistake, even though he put up some good fantasy numbers last year. Joe Mixon says, I got this. 30 carries, 159 yards, average 5.3 a carry, and 1 touchdown. So I don't think there's any question with the running game. This Texans team is going to be just pretty much everything that we thought. Now, give it up for the defense for holding Jonathan Taylor to only 48 yards and 16 carries. So that is not a Jonathan Taylor-like game. But then again, when you face the Texas defense, that's basically what you're going to get. But I tell you what, we are going to take a break here. When we come back, I think we're going to have to talk to this Titans fan, which I'm not looking forward to it. I'm not really, I mean, because I told you, we're not really, there's certain teams that we really don't care about. in this city. And we just talked about one of them, the Colts and the Jaguars. AJ, I can't believe you brought it up, man, because I want to talk about the Dolphins, not the Jaguars.
Oh,
But no,
yeah.
we are going to talk about the Titans and what they almost done here. You know what? So let's go ahead and take a break. When we come back, we got more Week 1 of the National Football League here on the Mean Gene Show right here on ESPN 97.5.
This is the Mean Gene Show
On ESPN 97.5 and 92.5.
from the Veritex Community Bank Studios. Here's Mean Gene.
All right, we are continuing our recap of Week 1 of the National Football League. 12 games on tap today. We talked about the kickoff on Thursday night and, of course, the Friday night game in Brazil. We have talked about the Texans, and we're going to get back to the Cowboys a little bit and talk about Dak's contract and that big win over Cleveland. But first, I am told by my producer, AJ, that we are rudely being interrupted by a disgruntled Tennessee Titans fan. And is it Tommy Titan is his name? Tommy Titan.
Yeah, man. Y'all already know they was wild. Listen, the Bears ain't been nothing since '85, man. Can we get the ref a dog and a cane, man? Why? Listen. Kind of Mean Gene, because you ain't mean, because you ain't talking about this, man. How are they cheating in the first week? Listen, we all know the Titans is going to be the champions this year. So they had to cheat us. It's ridiculous, man. Once again, the Bears. Listen, it's even in the name, man. You know what I'm saying? We can barely stand to watch them play. You know what I'm saying?
But
you know what I'm saying? They barely beat us without the refs.
Tommy,
It's just ridiculous, man.
Tommy, you guys was up, what, 17? Was it 17 to nothing in that game? So what the hell happened?
Listen, man. Listen. You want to know what happened? You want to know what happened?
Yeah, I want to know what happened.
It's a conspiracy, man. It's a conspiracy to keep Tennessee Titans down, man. Listen, the league has hated Tennessee since forever, man. I can go back to the thing with the guy with the quarterback with the thing, but we ain't going to talk about that. We going to talk about these bum Bears that barely beat us. It's BS, man. Bum Bears barely beat us. It's BS. I heard you make, listen. Kind of Mean Gene, I need you to get real mean, man. They done robbed me, man.
Well, look,
who can we talk to, man? Who can we talk to?
Tommy, look here, man. You talking to, look, first of all, that not only do the league hate the Titans, hell, the city of Houston hate the Titans too. Now, what's going to happen when y'all come to town here and play the Texans? Did we
You
lose?
know what is gonna happen. It's gonna be a rumble, baby. It's gonna be a demolishing, baby. You know what I'm saying? Y'all might well just tell them stay at home when we come there. Don't even walk out on the field. You know what I'm saying? Because we're going to spank them like they 2 years old. You hear me? We're going to send them home for a nizzap. You know what I'm saying? Listen, they can't cheat us every week. They got us this week, though. They got us this week. You like you said, we was up 17-0, man.
17-0.
17-0. And then all of a sudden, they make it touchdown.
I thought, look here, Tommy Titan. I thought
Listen,
y'all
man,
had this game.
you saying we was cheated.
I thought y'all had this game, but look, I got to ask you a question, though. Did you miss Derrick Henry? Did you miss Derrick Henry?
You not. What kind of question is it? You ask that question because you know the answer to that question. But don't worry, won't miss him for long. It won't be too long.
Well, look, you got Tony Pollard. He didn't do too bad today. But look, I mean,
see,
I was.
That's how you handle me. You don't handle me like that because you seen them cheaters. He didn't do too bad.
Look, hey,
he did great.
Believe it or not,
he was wild without a gun. Is what happened.
I was somewhat. It's tough for me to always pull for the Titans, but in this particular case, I wanted to see the Bears lose one because they got to come here and face the Texans.
You, Gene. I knew I liked you. I knew I liked you. You can be mean when you talk like that. You wanted them to lose because you knew they needed to lose, just like y'all gonna lose when we come there. Let's speak it into existence, Gene. You do it. You all right, Gene. I don't care what they say about you all over everywhere else.
You know what? We got to put over 17 weeks of this, man. Look, I want y'all to win next week. I don't even know who y'all play, but because I want you to be a little bit more happy.
You ain't got to want us to win. We gonna win. If you think that we ain't gonna win, listen. I gamble for real. I bet the sun won't come up, and I'm telling you, I'm betting the whole phone. They ain't gonna cheat us every week. They got us this week, and my bookie might be looking for me. So if he out there listening, this ain't me on this line right here.
All right, Tommy Titan. You know what? I'm gonna give you a week to regroup, and I will be watching the Titans again. I want to see what you guys
be looking for the winners, man. Look at the champs. You gotta watch us, man. The watchers is the knowers, and the knowers is the lovers, and the lovers is to be with the champs.
Did you? Where'd you watch the game at, Tommy Titan? Were you at the sports bar? Were you at home? Did you have?
Nah, man, I was at my lady house because, man, my wife be talking mess, man. You know what I'm saying? So I went over to my lady house. You know what I'm saying? Well, because I be on my girlfriend's house. I can't be at home with my wife. I can't do that.
That's probably a little bit too much information, Tommy.
Oh, it's all right. It's all right. They know I'm polyglamorous.
You sure you're gonna live for 17 weeks? Because we
listen. I'm polyglamorous. That means they all know about me and they all hate me.
Well, I tell you what,
I'm polyglamorous.
Look, y'all let one get away, but we'll regroup and we do this again next week.
Listen. That's the only one we losing this year. You heard it right here, man. A real Titans fan telling y'all that's the only one we losing this year. They can't cheat us out of no more. And I'm calling the Referees Association, and we're getting all their eyes tested, all them flags. They should have been on the flag thing.
All right, Tommy T. Hey, thanks for calling in, Tommy T. And look, we know we're gonna have a much more.
Thank you for having me, kind of Mean Gene.
We're gonna have
this attitude up. We're gonna start calling you Mean Gene.
We're gonna have a whole different conversation next week and hopefully, you know, the sun will shine next week for you.
Yeah, when they win next week, I'm calling in and I want my money. Like J.G. Wentworth, it's your money and I want it now.
All right, folks. Tommy T joining us from I think it's the Nashville area. Just hot. AJ, man, I hope we don't have a Jaguar fan calling in today.
I don't know any, but yeah, hopefully not.
He sounded pissed. And look, Will Levis was looking great out there at one particular time in that game. And when I saw that the Bears was down 17-0, and we had nephew Tony on, and I'm like, oh Lord, I'm gonna have to give him a call, and this is not gonna be good. But man, look, I mean, neither one of these guys, quarterbacks, had good numbers. Will Levis, 19 to 32 for 127 yards, a touchdown and 2 interceptions. Caleb, I mean, not bad, but not good either. 14 to 29, 93 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions, which is 55, .7 rating, but man, they get it. They got it done.
Yeah, that's what matters most. Next week it'll be intriguing to see how they play against Houston though, because that's going to be a real test for Chicago.
Who is the Titans playing next?
Titans.
Because I wanted to kind of something
look
tells
that up.
me we're gonna be hearing from Tommy Titan again. I mean, so he was over at his girlfriend's house, but because his wife.
They play against the Jets next week.
Ooh, well, we'll see. Because the Jets gonna be pissed off because they're gonna lose
tomorrow
night. So I don't know. So they at the Jets. So they start the season 2 games on the road there, Titans. Maybe that's why he's pissed off.
No, they'll be in.
Oh, they're at Nissan Stadium.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right. Well, maybe Tommy T have a different attitude.
Maybe so.
Yeah, but anyway, so I mean that was an incredible game there. I mean the Bears get it done. So I mean, if you watch Hard Knocks, you probably see and saw how teams are really close together, and of course a lot of it is for the cameras and everything. But man, I thought that was an incredible win for the Bears to come back, and no one wanted to see that team lose their opener at Soldier Field. What was it, 24-17, I believe?
Yeah, 24-17. Final score.
So man, Titans put up that 17 points, and then that Bears defense, which we have always talked about. Nephew Tony told you about that Bears defense, and they showed up and it was pretty good. So look here, we are going to keep it moving. When we come back here, we're going to continue our recap and get into the fantasy impact of some of these scores and games today. You listen to the Mean Gene Show right here on ESPN 97.5 H-Town.
You're listening to the Mean Gene Show
on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5.
for the Veritex Community Bank Studios. Here's Mean Gene.
Your team just sucks. Yes, your team completely sucks. I can't even bring myself to say their name because it leaves a taste in my mouth like I've just licked my own crotch. And, you know, I'm not machine washable, so it can get pretty funky down there.
Oh, man. All right, Ted. Yeah, your team sucks. That's not good. That's not good. Folks, we are continuing on here. Last segment of the first hour here, Mean Gene Show. Real football is back. Week 1 of the National Football League. We're going to get into some more scores and analysis here. How about the Bengals? Once again, the Bengals are in that, I don't know. Look, you know, say what you will about Bill Belichick, no longer with the Patriots, and Jared Mayo. I mean, this was probably the one game that I knew that the Bengals would win. You couldn't tell me that the New England Patriots would beat the Cincinnati Bengals at home, okay, in Cincinnati at Paycor Stadium, but they did. Jared Mayo is 1-0 as the coach of the New England Patriots. The Bengals are 0-1, and man, this one was hard to watch. If you was a Bengals fan, nobody scored there in the first quarter. The Patriots put up 10 in the second, and the Bengals just, failed to get it done. And look, I don't know. I don't know if this whole Jamar Chase thing played any part to it, or Joe Burrow comes back with the different color hair, looking like Cody Rhodes there. But look, I had Joe Burrows in my starting lineup, and
Both of
he
us.
sucked. And AJ, I don't know what happened. I mean, I think Bengals fans have seen this before, and it's only 1 week. And I know I'm sounding like we're in week 7 or week 8, but we're not. It's only 1 week. But man, it's just how and where you lose these games. And this one, you're at home. It's the opener. Okay, most people had the Bengals up by double digits. They were supposed to win this game. So I don't know. I mean, for Jared Mayo to take this team on the road, and Jacoby Brissett did not, look good. I think he actually did he get knocked out the game there? His numbers, 15 to 24, 121, no touchdowns, right? No picks, 75%. But Joe Burrow just stunk it up there. So I know that Bengals fans are not, are saying, hey, we're not going to worry. But look, if you had Ramondre Stevenson on your fantasy football team, he did you good. Okay, 25 carries, 120, and 1 touchdown. Zach Moss actually looked good. So I'm just, there's a lot of moving parts with some of these teams this year. A lot of players change addresses and changed uniforms there. So Zach Moss, who didn't really get much opportunities there, where was he, with Buffalo, I believe? And
No, he was with the Colts.
I mean the Colts. I'm sorry.
Blue team though.
He did when Jonathan, Taylor was going through his little thing there. But anyway, 9 carries, 44 yards. He got a touchdown. So, I mean, I don't know if that's it's going to make me want to go out there and grab him off the waiver wire or wherever he might be hanging out in fantasy football. But I think the biggest disappointment, and for me and maybe Bengals fans, was Jamar Chase's performance, which 6 receptions, he was only targeted 6 times, 62 yards there. So no touchdowns. So you cannot tell me, AJ, that this whole contract thing just didn't play into some of this. The Bengals just were not prepared.
Right. Yeah, you can tell he's disgruntled. I don't know. I'm sure you saw that locker room interview that he had like a couple of days, but prior to that, like you could tell like he said it was frustrating and things of that nature too. So yeah,
because
it's a cluster.
it didn't even look like he was going to play. He made it a
Exactly.
game time decision. And then
Exactly.
sometime over the weekend, he says that, oh, well, I'll play without the contract. But he said it with an attitude.
Exactly.
Like, well, don't do us any damn favors.
Right. You don't want that either. So he's not locked in all the way. That's what it shows.
Right. And that's exactly what I gathered from that. But anyway, just a horrible loss there for the Cincinnati Bengals. But if you are a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, you love that the Bengals lost, because guess who won? Guess who went to the ATL with about 40,000 terrible towels? And people, I'm sorry. I've seen it here in this town here. I've seen the Steelers fans. I am a Steelers fan, and I just didn't become one today because they won. I did not pick them to win this game. Looking at this quarterback situation with Russell Wilson having this calf injury, you notice he had that same injury in the preseason. So this just seems like it's going to be one of those lingering injuries, which we may not see Russell Wilson this year, only in backup duty, even though the Steelers they were supposed to lose this game, and I'm trying to pull up my stats here. They were supposed to lose this game. They went 18-10, but if you had the Pittsburgh Steelers going into Mercedes-Benz Stadium and beating a Falcons team, which I picked to win the NFC South. This is a hot team. It will be hot. Like I said, it's only week 1, but for some teams, week 1 is every damn thing. And for the Pittsburgh Steelers, this was a great win in front of 72,000 fans there. And they go into this game a 4.5 point underdog. And look here, this was nothing but Chris Boswell, who signed his extension this year. Kickers respond, and he's just been a journeyman with the Pittsburgh Steelers. But man, I mean, it was the leg today. And AJ, were you surprised that the Falcons couldn't get it done at home?
Yeah, honestly, because like you said, they were favored by 4.5. So I mean, it's like everybody expecting to do well. Of course, Kirk Cousins coming off the Achilles injury too. That had to have some questions as well. And then this is the first time really seeing that offense fully together. So I'm not too surprised because the Steelers defense as well too. A lot of people are talking about how the Falcons weren't able to do anything. Exactly, that's what I'm saying. I mean,
too
you have
much
the Steelers
TJ
defense.
Watt.
Right.
He almost had a trifecta. He almost had a strip sack, a fumble recovery, and I mean, just all of that. And I believe they called it back. But TJ Watt is a beast.
Exactly. He's
You
one of
have to
one.
account for him. And I mean, his brother, people know in this town, his brother, they all came from the same loins.
Yep.
So I'm just saying, these Watt brothers are no joke. So it must be nice for JJ to sit around on TV now and watch his brother get it done, because man, these guys are unbelievable. One reason why Kirk Cousins had 2 interceptions in this game. Imagine a 59% rating. That is not good for a quarterback like Kirk Cousins.
Nasty work.
But you saw signs of what could become for the Falcons, because when have we heard Drake London and Kyle Pitts' name mentioned? Wasn't mentioned last year. They went out and got these guys. These guys are really good. But Kyle Pitts, as a matter of fact, targeted 3 times, which, that's going to improve if you're a Falcons fan. That's going to get better. George Pickens, which seems to be, he just responds to whoever's throwing the ball. He gets open, and I think, that is wide receiver number 1, obviously, for the Pittsburgh Steelers. But Najee Harris, not a bad day. Okay, he didn't get in the end zone, but 20 carries, 70 yards. The running game was something that the Pittsburgh Steelers couldn't even get going last year. But man, they got to think this kicker, Mike Tomlin. The Steelers win games that you don't expect them to win. This was a big loss, if you ask me, for the Falcons, because this is a home team that's loaded with talent. They picked up a lot of great guys on defense too, but like we say, it's only one game. But we got to make it sound really bad. We got to make it sound like it's the end of the damn world.
Oh, of
and
course.
for some Falcons fans, it might be. But look, how do you let 40,000 visiting fans come in your stadium? There was one part of that game where TJ Watt was like doing this
Embracing
to get the fans.
crowd. Yeah.
Like, how does that happen? It's unbelievable. So Steelers fans run deep. Another team's fans that Cowboys fans, they travel pretty well, but Broncos fans, there are a couple of teams that their fans really do follow them. Okay, so here's your Sunday night update. You're not missing anything. This is why I told you to mute the game, listen to the Mean Gene Show. It is only 3-0. The Rams are up 3-0. It's the end. I think the second quarter is just about to start here. This game is happening at Ford Field in Detroit. So really low scoring game, AJ. And I'm sort of, I think, with Matthew Stafford and Jared Goff, both of these guys are well capable of putting up 400 yards. But this just seems like one of them slow nights.
Yeah, for sure so far. I would say it was a really good playoff win for the Lions last year, but I mean, I hate how they make it seem like, I don't know if you watched Receivers on Netflix, and just remember last season, they make it seem like the Rams, I mean, they should regret what they were doing from a Lions perspective. I mean, the Rams won the Super Bowl, so yeah, they traded Jared Goff, but I mean, they achieved the ultimate goal, and they were in the playoffs last year, and they look like this year they could be back in the playoffs too. So I don't really get that stigma.
It's going to be a long. It's going to be a long year,
Right.
and this game is early. We'll keep you up to date on it. As Dan Campbell is walking the sidelines there, so it looked like the Lions do have the ball, so we'll get you an update as soon as someone gets in the end zone. But how about we talk about this game before the break here? So we've heard from the Titans. We saw what the Texans did today over the Colts. So the only thing missing in this conversation is the Jacksonville Jaguars down at Hard Rock Stadium. It was the Battle of Florida for the most part there. Great weather down there. But anyway, what looked like it was going to be a Jacksonville victory, it just didn't work out that way. Somehow, and this might be indicative of how the future might be for the Miami Dolphins, because rarely do they come from behind to win any game. And this was look, they didn't put up anything in the first quarter. Uh, you know, I mean, look, if you have Tua Tagovailoa as your starting quarterback, just get used to these numbers because I mean, win or loss, and they almost lost this game. He was 23 of 37 for 333 yards. That sounds like what, about 25 fantasy points, depending on
Yeah, some of that
how
area.
your league is graded. Those are going to be regular numbers for Tua. So you might as well just get used to it. It's going to happen that way. But anyway, he only had one touchdown, and I think that's is the most shocking part about that. But man, when you look at the receivers on this team, Tyreek Hill. If you had Tyreek Hill today, you're a happy fantasy owner because he was 7 receptions. He was targeted 12 times. I'm shocked it was only 12 times, 130 yards. Okay, and a touchdown. And then Waddle. This is what look. You got to have one or the other on your fantasy football team. Waddle, I believe, had some big numbers as well. But we talked about Xavier Worthy, the rookie from the Thursday night game. How about Brian Thomas Jr.? I saw this guy out there, and I went and got him. So here's a rookie there. He targeted 4 times, but he made the best of it. He 4 for 47 and a touchdown. So this is another weapon for Trevor Lawrence, and not to mention Kristen Kirk, because Thomas comes in and basically gets that time that Kevin Ridley had last year. But anyway, hey, if you're a Texans fan, you are happy that the Colts, the Titans, and the Jaguars lost, and now the Texans are in sole possession of first place.
Right after 1 week.
Well, I mean, but this is how it's going to be.
That's true. That is
And you
true.
couldn't ask for a better start when you're the only team in your division that wins. I mean, this is great. This is what you want. So, and I think it's going to be like this for a while. I know Tommy Titan don't want to hear that.
Oh,
You
no,
have
none
to
at
warn
all.
me when that guy's coming on, okay? I didn't know he was coming in with all that kind of energy.
And he
you
was
know.
ready.
Yeah.
He asked me about the score too before I had put him on, and then he was like, "Okay, it's like he was getting ready pretty much."
Oh, my goodness. Yeah. So anyway, so Texans, first place in the AFC South. So when we come back, we will keep it moving right along here. In the next hour, we will continue to run down all of these games that were played today and give you some insights on those. And of course, we're going to talk about the Monday night football game and all of that stuff. You're listening to the Mean Gene Show right here on ESPN 97.5.
So what had happened was.
What had happened was.
What had happened was.
We're going to talk about that. But first of all, welcome back to the second hour of the Mean Gene Show here on ESPN 97.5. We are continuing our coverage of the Week 1 of the National Football League, and we are going over scores and highlights today from the games that were played today, and including the Sunday night game, which is currently playing right now. It's a tie game, by the way. It's 3-3, a couple of field goals from both teams. So hopefully someone will get in the end zone. But in this hour, we will continue. You know what? We're going to talk about the Monday Night Football game with the Jets, and we'll get into some of that. We'll talk about some fantasy football stuff, but let's talk about this new segment here. Every week, second hour, we will talk about what had happened was. All right, now that's kind of slang there. You know, you may have heard that from some people, you know, and what it is it's and I would just give you the textbook definition of what had happened was. AJ, do you use that when you're about to tell a lie?
Not a lie, but I would say
lie.
something that just happened that was bad, essentially. You know,
that's you're right.
Yeah.
So it's to like start a story, perhaps provide context for a situation that has already occurred. And so you basically given an excuse.
Right.
It's a long excuse. Okay. Anytime somebody say what had happened was, but in this particular, how we're going to use it on the Mean Gene Show is it's going to be it's an upset game or it's a blowout game. And when we say blowout in the NFL, we're talking 20 points or more. So when I was watching the games today, I'm like, oh, this is going to be interesting because I thought the Bears were going to be the first what had happened was segment, right? So they turned that around after being down 17-0. They come back and win the game 24-17. But you already know who the what had happened was candidate is for this week 1. And you know what? And my Sports Kings co-host, Dustin Pfeiffer, who covers the Carolina Panthers, I don't know. We talked about this on our podcast when we do our NFL Weekly Countdown show, and I picked the Saints to win. Dustin picked the Panthers. The Saints win 47-10. This was what had happened was. What had happened was Bryce Young looks worse than he did last year. And I'm going to bash him, but then again, I'm also going to defend him at the end of this because, look, I mean, I didn't see any noticeable difference from last year to this year. I mean, it was just bad. It was just bad. They did get a field goal right before the half, but I believe it was like, what was it, 30-0 in the first half.
So it was already cooked.
It was, yeah, and I said, okay, this is going to be one of those 50-point. I mean, I think the Saints could have easily ran up the score if they wanted to. And this was an NFC South game. So, you know, I mean, the Saints didn't need any style points. I mean, Bryce Young is just bad. So here's the worst quarterback rating of the day. Bryce Young was 13 of 30, 161 yards, 2 interceptions for a 32.8 quarterback rating.
Oof.
And that's horrible. That is horrible. I'm sorry. And Derek Carr, who was a journeyman, you know, I mean, Derek Carr, he made Derek Carr look like Tom Brady. Derek Carr had a 142.5 quarterback rating. And I can't think of anyone that drafted Derek Carr in any fantasy league that I'm in.
Same.
But I wouldn't rush out there and get him now. This was just a horrible team there. I mean, Carr was 19 of 23 for 200 yards and 3 touchdowns. Man, just damn near perfect almost on the day. And Alvin Kamara, who, man, for some reason, this guy just, when you think like, okay, he's getting old, it's going to start showing. I mean, man, he still gets it done for the Saints at 15 carries, 83 yards, and touchdown. He doesn't fumble much, and, you know, he just goes out there and get it done. But if you had the Saints defense in fantasy football, you did good. I put them in there because I knew that Bryce Young, I still consider the guy a rookie. He is just not, not going to get it done. If you want to know why Bryce Young is having problems, he is on his third offensive coordinator already. And Peyton Manning has said this 1,000 times. You really want to ruin a quarterback's career, keep changing the offensive coordinators and playbooks on these guys. And this guy, Bryce Young, is just not one of those. I would not be surprised if at some point in time he will be benched. And that's not good, And I tell you what, and I know Texans fans are going, woo, boy, that could have been us.
Yeah, definitely. Them getting CJ Stroud was a huge blessing. A huge blessing because
Yeah.
they wanted Bryce Young, especially everybody was mad. Remember when they lost that game
I
against the
know.
Colts
Be
in
careful what
2022?
you wish for, and
Right.
I'm sorry. Um, I'm sorry you guys had to be the first recipient of the "What Had Happened Was" award. But look, I don't see any better days coming for the Carolina Panthers. I can't wait to talk to Dustin Pfeiffer about that on our podcast this week. But man, uh, you're going to play the Saints twice. You're going to play the Texans twice. Well, no, I'm sorry, not the Texans. You're going to play the Buccaneers twice. You're going to play the Falcons twice, and I think I'm missing another team in there. But uh, no, I mean that's it. You guys, it's going to be a rough year, and I haven't even looked at the rest of their schedule. But man, I don't know. They might go. You remember that Detroit Lions team that went 0-16?
Winless, yeah.
I mean, it could happen here. I don't know where they're going to get any type of their Miles Sanders running back. He was 5 carries, 22 yards. I don't know where they're going to get anything from.
The crazy thing is that the Panthers won against the Texans last year too. That was a crazy game. I don't know if you remember that, but
What was that now?
that the Texans they lost
Oh
to the
yeah,
Panthers
yeah,
last year.
I know. Yeah. So, but I mean, it happens. They can, you can catch somebody off guard
Right, any given Sunday.
on any given Sunday. But I don't think you're going to have to worry about that. And I would not be surprised if they will be on another episode of What Had Happened Was.
Oh, for sure. Maybe every week.
I mean, it was crazy. I was thinking it was going to be the Bears when they were down 17-0, but no. The Carolina Panthers said, "No, we suck more than anybody." So that's the way it is. So hey, we have more coming up here on the Mean Gene Show as we continue to roll through Week 1 of the National Football League with our scores and updates. So stick around. It's the Mean Gene Show right here on ESPN 97.5 Houston.
You're listening to The Mean Gene Show
on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5.
for the Veritex Community Bank Studios. Here's Mean Gene.
All right, moving it right along here on a Sunday. Week 1 National Football League, 12 active games today, of course, including the Sunday night game, which is currently on NBC. A pair of field goals by the field goal kickers. It's a 3-3 ball game, and not much offense. AJ, I'm really shocked because I thought, you got two gunslinging quarterbacks, especially with Matthew Stafford, but both defenses seem to be playing well as Cardi kicked a 41-yard field goal and Bates kicked a 26-yard field goal. So this is why we have a 3-3 tie, and it looked like the Rams went for it on fourth down and didn't convert. So I don't know. It's not a good Sunday night game so far.
Right. People working off that rest, of course, too. And hey, it could be a better second half though, so we'll end up seeing ultimately.
Yeah. So hopefully, well, I tell you what, another team that could have made the what had happened was the New York Giants. And I tell you what we saw in the preseason with the Giants, it seems to be, trickling over to the regular season. New York Giants fans, you're gonna have a long year, and you are going to regret not drafting a quarterback when you had the opportunity. You let Saquon Barkley go to your rival Philadelphia Eagles. He shows out. He gets the game ball and all of that stuff, and he is so happy to be in Philadelphia, which is just a subway ride from where he used to be. And you're gonna see him again. You're gonna see him
Twice.
twice. Yeah, you're gonna see him in a couple of weeks here, but look, here's another team that loses at home. I would say for the Bears, they did salvage their 17-point deficit and get it done. But the Bengals, losers at home, heavily favorites, lose at home. Now, this game you could say, well, I don't know. I picked the Bengals to win this game because after seeing what Daniel Jones did in the preseason, I don't know. It's gonna be a long year. So here's a quarterback that a good quarterback. And Daniel Jones was 22 of 42, 186 yards, 2 interceptions for a 44.3 rating. That is not a starting quarterback stats. That's like somebody that comes in off the bench or your quarterback is hurt or something other. This is a starting quarterback, and you're going to hear this topic. Who goes first, Dable or Jones?
Man, well, it's tough because obviously Brian Daboll, he won Coach of the Year and all that, and he's a really good offensive play caller. But I mean, it's hard for me to see any coach succeeding with this current group. I mean, it's just the definition of dysfunction. Daniel Jones had that good year in 2022, which led to him getting that contract, which obviously was a mistake because that essentially led to Saquon leaving.
Yeah,
so it's like,
yeah.
dang, you kind of fried yourself. But I definitely believe that, like you said, they should have drafted a quarterback.
They should have drafted a quarterback. You look at all these quarterbacks that are, in the league this year that have been drafted over the last 2 years, and you don't get anything, and you're stuck with Daniel Jones. I don't even know who the backup quarterback is, but anyway, just look, just a horrible, horrible situation there. So on the flip side of this, Sam Darnold, who many thought like, well, I don't know, he's had his woes too. I think he's on his fourth or 15, but Sam Darnold gets it done today. 19 to 24, 208 yards, 2 touchdowns. He had a pick, but a 113 quarterback rating. And the Minnesota Vikings have won one. They're in the win column in the NFC North. Aaron Jones, he gets into the end zone, and Texans fans are saying, "Wow, it was." When you look at Devin Singletary's numbers today compared to Mixon's, you're like, okay, I think I see what me and Gene is talking about. Devin Singletary, 10 carries, 37 yards, so no touchdowns. And this is so you have a horrible passer in Daniel Jones, and you replace Saquon Barkley with Devin Singletary, which he did well when he was with the Texans. But man, it's going to be a long year. Justin Jefferson, I would, if it was Kirk Cousins throwing him the ball today, his numbers probably would have been a lot better. He was only targeted 6 times, which I find is hard to believe. That's half of what Tyreek Hill was targeted. And Justin Jefferson, you just paid this guy a whopping amount of money, and you only targeted him 6 times.
I know they're gonna definitely get him more involved next week. I need them to also fantasy wise from other teams. So yeah, they need to gonna start targeting him, pushing the ball his way for sure.
Yeah, I know. So it's just incredible stuff there. So I don't know. I mean, it's just kind of tough. Um, and Malik Neighbors, who I mean, Malik Neighbors got targeted more than Justin Jefferson. How does that happen? How does a rookie get targeted more? And I mean, Malik Neighbors plays for the Giants. Now, I think he's going to have a good year. But when you got a struggling quarterback like Daniel Jones, who knows? Neighbors' numbers could have been a lot better.
Right, you could tell that he didn't want to go there either, too. Because I remember they asked him about a pre-draft interview. He was like, "Well, I think they would definitely have to figure out the quarterback situation there and stuff." Yeah, well,
Well, I mean, hey, but what can you say? I mean, what can you say when you're a rookie? You try to, you try not to say the wrong things, but man, I don't know. They better get it together because they won't have this guy. But it's gonna be a long season for the Giants. I don't know who's gonna finish worse. Um, I don't know. In some ways, the Panthers are better than the Giants, but not by far though. At the quarterback position, they both are pretty even. I just can't believe the fall off with Daniel Jones. So quite interesting. Did we take a break? I can't remember. We
yeah,
did.
we just got off one. You got plenty of time on
See,
this
I
one.
just,
Yeah.
I just look, man. I tell you, man. It's just when you talk about depressing stuff like the Giants, you lose focus here. But anyway, all right. So how about this game here? Jim Harbaugh, back in the National Football League, and I tell you what, I picked the Chargers to beat the Raiders, and the Raiders was another one of those teams that basically the Chargers did beat the Raiders, by the way, 22-10, and but a lot of people felt that the Chargers would have a setback, and I was one of those people, especially when you lose two good receivers, and Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, and then not only that, you lose your running back in Austin Eckler, but the Chargers get it done. They get it done. Justin Herbert today was 17 to 26 for 144 yards, and you know what? J.K. Dobbins, the most unlikeliest of people, because I think Gus Edwards also went to that Chargers team, which I drafted, by the way, in my fantasy. But J.K. Dobbins, I knew something was up when I saw that both of those former Ravens running backs went to the Chargers. So somebody knew something. Anyway, J.K. Dobbins, if you had him today, which I know you didn't, nobody had J.K. Dobbins today in their fantasy football lineup. If you said you did, you're lying. Call me up here. What's our number anyway? Call me up at this number here. I'm gonna give it to you, okay? Call me up at 713-780-3776 if you had J.K. Dobbins today. I know damn well that phone ain't gonna ring because ain't nobody had him, AJ.
Exactly.
Yeah, and make sure whoever calls in, make sure they ain't lying,
Right.
because you really have to justify putting J.K. Dobbins in your lineup. No one gave you that advice today.
Unless they just waited till like the final rounds of the draft to draft
I
running
don't
back.
even know if he's on anybody's bench.
Exactly. That's true too. Yeah.
I mean, because Gus Edwards, was the guy that we thought would get it done. Anyway, Zamir White, I did draft Zamir White, and I was highly disappointed. 13 carries, 44 yards today. Raiders, I don't know, Gardner Minshew. I mean, he had a better uh, performance than Justin Herbert, but it wasn't enough to win. He threw a pick there also. I don't know. I don't know. There's Jim Harbaugh, folks. Don't think that he's just some college coach that just came from Michigan and is going to be lucky in the NFL. This man took a team to the Super Bowl. So Jim Harbaugh knows what the hell he's doing, and what a win for the Chargers and in front of all those Raider fans at SoFi Stadium. So, I mean, it just happens. The Raider Charger games are always great games to watch. But Lad McConkey, how about that? How about this guy for the Chargers? I don't know who drafted him either in their fantasy football. But I guess the most disappointing thing for Raider fans is that you couldn't get the Jamar Chase, Devontae Adams was targeted a couple of times. Didn't have, I think it was 5 catches, 50 something yards there. Nothing spectacular. Jacoby Myers is also that other wide receiver 2 there on that team. So I don't know. This was a division game here, and it doesn't really matter much in the AFC West because everyone's looking up at KC. I don't know who's going to finish second place in that division. I know we talked about it a couple of weeks ago, but second, third, it won't matter because I just think there's going to be so much of a separation between KC and the rest of the division, AJ, that only one team would probably come from that division anyway.
Right, exactly. And the rest of the AFC is stacked as well too, because you can count from the AFC North teams, multiple teams that can be in the playoffs. Same things potentially with the AFC East and the South too, though. So yeah, it's really slim with the AFC West.
Yeah, it is. So Chargers in the win column. So right now the Chargers are probably second place behind KC.
Right, exactly.
They get the win there. I want to go back because I think we skipped this game here. We skipped the no, we skipped the Bills and the Cardinals.
Yeah.
And this was an interesting game because I tell you what, the Bills win 34-28, but it was a lot closer though. Kyler Murray, who I tell you what, AJ, when I see this guy on the field, I mean, he just looks like a little kid out there ripping and running. But Kyler Murray did some major damage today to the Buffalo Bills defense. 21 to 31, 162 yards and a touchdown, and man, this was a game where you thought Arizona was going to get it done, and they are known to shock teams. I know you remember when they beat the Cowboys in that. I had to bring that up, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, it's good to see Kyler Murray back on the field. But Josh Allen played with sense of urgency today. 18 to 23, 232 yards, some big first downs there, 2 touchdowns for 137.7 uh, quarterback rating. And look, the one guy who I knew that would probably be really important on this team is Shakir, which the Buffalo loses Stephon Diggs, so everyone is trying to figure out, okay, well, who is he going to find? Well, he's got Hollins and he's got Shakir there, but this was a big win for Buffalo because they're one of those teams that slowly fading there, and with getting rid of Gabe Davis and Stephon Diggs, many wonder if they would even be in the playoff hunt this year.
Right, exactly. And then same thing with their defense too. They had to retool it right there. I mean, like players like Micah Hyde and other different components that they had to release as well. So they're really trying to, establish a younger identity as well too. Also, Keon Coleman being a rookie wide receiver there. So it's going to be interesting to see how the Bills really go. And then a lot of people, I know, I'm sure you saw that poll, anonymous players voting Josh Allen overrated and stuff like that. Those polls are so weak to me, especially when you're anonymous. At least stay out and stand on. You know what I'm saying? But we're gonna see a lot from Josh Allen this year for sure without those
Yeah, I
weapons.
mean Buffalo's not giving up,
Right.
and look, this could have easily been a game where Arizona could have went in there and stole it. We saw what happened with a lot of road teams this week, went in there and the Bills were that close to being one of those teams that would have been upset there, but they get the win 34-28, and it matters because it matters in the AFC East because they get the win. The Jets will play tomorrow night, and the Dolphins got the win. So it's gonna be a competitive race there, and we're gonna be around for all of this stuff. We're gonna get you caught up. So, how about the Broncos? How about the Broncos and Seahawks? At one particular time, AJ, that used to be the AFC West. The Seahawks were part of that. They were an AFC team at one time.
Oh wow, I wonder what made them switch. I guess realignment or something.
It was way back in the day,
Mm.
and so realignment. I can't remember what year that happened, but yeah. So these teams used to play each other a lot. Chargers, Seahawks. Seahawks was in that division with the Chargers and the Raiders as well. So that was many moons ago. But anyway, I think everyone is looking at Sean Payton and this Bo Nix thing to see if what has happened over in the preseason would roll over into the regular season. And of course, the Seahawks, just like with the New England Patriots, you don't see Bill Belichick on the sidelines. Well, it was really interesting not to see Pete Carroll on the sidelines for the Seahawks in their first game here. But I tell you what, I think the Seahawks are going to have an interesting season, AJ, because they get the win, but it wasn't as dominant of a win that it should have been.
Right, I concur. I mean, they still have a lot of good weapons. Geno Smith, having DK Metcalf, and Jackson Smith and Jigma, Tyler Lockett, and Kenneth Walker. So they still have a lot of solid pieces for sure. I mean, of course, that division is tough being in the NFC West. We talked about the Rams earlier. Obviously, the 49ers that play tomorrow. So, but they definitely are encouraging. The defense is going to be really good because you have Mike McDonald, who was from the Ravens. So you're gonna be good.
And that's what they've always, built themselves on. Look, I was happy that Kenneth Walker put up some good numbers for me, okay? Because I took a chance drafting this guy in my fantasy football. 20 carries, 103 yards, a touchdown. That's basically what you want any week from a running back. But I got to think that Sean Payton has to be disappointed with the performance of Bo Nix. I don't know how hard he's going to come down on him. As you know, he came down really hard on Russell Wilson, but this is a rookie, which some people say, well, no, he's not a rookie. This guy played a lot of college football. He's the most experienced rookie probably playing in the NFL. But Bo Nix didn't really have a good day today. 26 of 42, 138 yards, two interceptions, a horrible 47.5 quarterback rating. But first game, and I think at some point in time, whatever they did see in the preseason, it will eventually, it will eventually show up for the Broncos. But anyway, they lose one today, and Geno Smith. A lot of folks are looking at him, AJ, just trying to figure out, well, what will you get with a Geno Smith who is under a new management, so to speak. I think Pete Carroll sort of put some stuff together for him, but it seems like the new management, the new coaching staff is going to be able to work with Geno, because I don't know who else they have on the bench there, but he didn't do too bad today. But a big win for the Seahawks, and always for these first year coaches, you want to see that win. So Jared Mayo gets the win in his first coaching debut, and McDonald gets the win for the Seahawks. So, all right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we are going to get more into what's happening in the Sunday night football game on NBC. We'll let you know if the Rams or the Lions have got into the end zone. And just stay with us here. It's the Mean Gene Show right here on ESPN 97.5.
You're listening to the Mean Gene Show
on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5.
for the Veritex Community Bank Studios. Here's Mean Gene.
All right, bottom of the second hour, Mean Gene Show Sunday night. And we are getting you all updated on what took place in week 1 of the National Football League. 12 games today, including your Sunday night game, which, by the way, the score is 10-3. Detroit over the Rams. Okay. And it looks like it's in the second quarter with about a minute to go before halftime. So maybe they get the offense going a little bit more. So Detroit definitely wants to win this game at home. And I think I picked them to win, even though it seems like they like this reunion of bringing Matthew Stafford back to Detroit and embarrassing him like that. So I remember when he was with Detroit and he used to put up crazy numbers, AJ. And you felt bad for him because they just never really got them anywhere. Got Calvin Johnson in the Hall of Fame, though. But, man, Matthew Stafford is a gunslinger. Played his high school football in North Texas.
Right, exactly. I think he's one of the most underrated quarterbacks to play. I mean, all time. I mean, we saw that 2021 season was special. His arm talent. I mean, you've seen people like C.J. Stroud and just a lot of different quarterbacks salute him and nod him because he's very talented as a quarterback in his talent. So it's cool to see that he was able to win a Super Bowl and finally crack through, especially in his first year in LA. We'll see what the rest of his tenure there is because I mean he is getting older, but he's still really effective and one of the best quarterbacks in the league.
Don't have the defense that supports them like they did when they had Aaron Donald, but they still got the respectable defense, the Rams. So all right, okay, it's fantasy football time here, and man, look to be in 3 leagues and not really winning any of them now. Now, just like it's week 1, just like it's week 1 in the season, and you shouldn't panic if your team really got walloped today. But if you're in fantasy football, pretty much the same. If you lose week 1, AJ, you're not out of it. And I was talking with a friend of mine in Florida named Kevin. We were talking about, the bench players. And I told him, like, okay, if your bench players didn't score any points, that's troubling because it's okay sometimes. And look, it's okay if you got a person on the bench that scored, 20 points or 15 points because you got them. That's not a player that you're going to get rid of because you might slap yourself upside the head and say, well, damn, how come I didn't put him in the lineup today? It's better than not having them.
Right. It's basically a luxury, if anything. So if someone gets injured, you know where to place them right then.
Right. So, and then you also got to take into account bye weeks. You don't have to worry about bye weeks for the first 5 weeks of the football league now that we're in a 17-game schedule. But, a lot of times, the bye weeks will start in week 5, I believe, or week 6 or something, and then they continue on to about week 14 or something like that. Maybe even this latest week 15, I think. But it's okay. But I'm disappointed. I'm looking at my league, my Sports Kings Yahoo Sports Football League here. And this is Jacob Meadows is in this league. And I'm gonna look, I can't talk about Jacob first because I'm projected to lose here. It's just sad because I thought, having Tua Tagovailoa out there today was going to be good. He exceeded the numbers that he was supposed to. Got me 25 fantasy points. Jamar Chase was a stretch, man, and I was really upset with just how he handled this whole decision-making thing on whether he was going to play. They projected him at 14 and a half, and I got 12, but it was just not that type of a performance. I got Brandon Ayuk maybe tomorrow night. He could have a 40-point night. You hope for those 40-point nights, AJ, but I don't know.
Yeah, that's what you'll need to crack through and win probably because, with Jamar, I know wasn't he your first pick for that league too, or?
Well, yeah, he was. Yeah, I mean, come on. I mean, he was first pick in a lot of leagues.
Right. Oh, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but I just think, and I wasn't really thinking, just like with the CD Lamb, I had a chance to take CD Lamb in one of my leagues as the first pick, and I didn't. But that contract situation just really bothered me a little bit, and the fact that he wasn't on the field getting any type of workout, that. But we know how that's going to go now. I mean, he's going to end up putting up big numbers.
Right,
like,
exactly. So you might regret it a little bit.
Did you get him?
Oh yeah, I drafted him first in my
So
Yahoo
now,
league.
how'd you do in one of your leagues?
Okay, so in my Yahoo one, it's basically looking like I'm about to lose by 0.4. I have 117, and my opponent has 121. So yeah, Joe Burrow, like we were talking about earlier, that's really what done to me because he was projected to have 19 points, only had 8 for me. But everyone else played pretty good. I mean, Mike Evans gave me 20.
Mike
CeeDee
Evans
Lamb,
got 20.
yeah,
I think I had him on the bench.
yeah, you have it on the bench.
Mm.
Yeah, I always usually get Mike Evans because like he always puts up numbers every year. I mean, always consistent. And yeah, my defense and for Dallas put up 17. Brandon Aubrey 21 points. Jalen Waddle 13. So I had a pretty good game on that one. My other fantasy league though, I'm up by 20, so I'm happy about that league. I have like people like Justin Jefferson, Dak, more players in there. That team is pretty good. But I mean, like you said, it's week 1, so you can't overreact to it.
Yeah, you can't.
So
You can't. And I'm trying to see who I went up against. Big Game James, and because we did our Sports Kings Yahoo Sports fantasy draft right here live on the air. So this was quite interesting. I want to be nosy and see what Jake did. So my opponent has 2 more players playing. I believe he's got Puka Nakua, who's playing right now, who already has 8 points. Okay, in this game. So I'll tell you what, but Ramondre Stevenson is who killed me.
no, yeah.
Because he went off for about 26 points, and then of course C.J. Stroud 22 fantasy points in the Yahoo Sports League. So, and look, I'm hoping Brandon Ayuk can come through for me. I tell you, who really hurt me was Christian Kirk, because I could have easily put in Brian Thomas. So how does the rookie outperform the veteran? And that's exactly what happened. I had Brian Thomas Jr. on the bench, projected to get 10, got me 14, and I believe something happened there. It looked like Stafford may have
He threw an interception. Yep,
just threw
in
a
the end
pick
zone.
there. So Detroit defense, and they were really in the red zone. So nothing like a red zone pick there.
Yeah,
But
momentum killer for sure. Drive killer.
yeah, but so Brian Thomas, 15 points, 14.7, and Christian Kirk. So I mean, you would have done the same thing, right? You would have started Christian Kirk over Brian Thomas.
Yeah, for sure. Because I mean, he's a rookie. You didn't know what to expect. So I mean, that makes sense. But I guess since I don't know, things pan out like that. Because I mean, he was a first round pick for a reason and a new weapon. Obviously, Calvin really not being there anymore. So
Yeah, and these
he's able to get
rookies,
more
because
opportunities.
there's no game film on these
Right,
guys, so you
exactly.
don't know. So anyway, and then the other guy that hurt me there was Mostert, who I took
Mm,
a chance on because A-Chain, it looked like he's going to be the guy.
right. He is
Going
younger
in,
too, significantly. So
that's true, and he showed signs of being brilliant last year. So big mistake there. A-Chain, Mostert got me only 3.90.
oh wow.
Projected to give me 15. I mean, not 15, but 10.
Wow. Well, he went off last year, so I mean that's a valid projection. But
And he's a goal line guy, which
right,
they didn't really get, you know,
right.
get
From
goal
that
line
pos- yeah.
opportunities. Now I tell you what, Kyle Pitts did help me out today with he was projected to get 11. He got me 11. So
Right.
that
He has a competent quarterback now. So
that was right on. That was right on point. And how about a kicker? There's nothing like when a kicker can bail you out.
hmm
And Dicker the kicker for the Chargers got me 12 points. And you can get double digits out of a kicker, you're doing good.
right.
The Saints got me 14. And I
Oh
knew
yeah.
lining them up against the Panthers for that what had happened was game that that really helped me out. But like, look, I still got to go up against the 49er defense, and so I'm done in this league. Um, so it's unfortunate, and I didn't leave that many points on the bench. Now, my opponent had Caleb Williams, who put up 21 points, but he also had C.J. Stroud, who got him more points. So you got anybody playing tomorrow night?
No, I don't have anyone for the Jets or for the 49ers. Nah. 'Cause I'm gonna lose in one league, but the other league it looks like I'm gonna win. So yeah,
Yeah,
1-1.
it's that time. I mean,
Yeah.
so it's week 1, and it's really nothing to panic. Now, like we said, if your players didn't score any points on the bench, then you know that you really need to probably think about shuffling and seeing what you can do. Now, there's some great players playing tomorrow night, and these guys, Aaron Rodgers, I don't know who. Uh, I wouldn't start Rodgers, but Rodgers got something to prove. You never know. It might be when you compare him to Brock Purdy. But you also got to think about that 49er defense.
Exactly.
And that's why, it might look good. And, I miss the days when Aaron Rodgers used to put up 300-400 yard passing games and get you plenty of points.
I don't when you play against the Cowboys.
Yeah, I know. I mean, because, he always owned the Cowboys. But the 49ers, it's going to be interesting because I got Debo Samuel playing, and it's either going to be him or Ayuk tomorrow night with big numbers, don't you think?
Right. I mean, for you, it would be good if both of them could have some good distribution. But yeah, we'll see. Because usually it just depends on how the game goes. Because I mean, you got to account for that Jets defense too. Because I mean, even though they've had bad quarterback play the past couple of years, their defense has been able to get some wins out the mud. So now with Aaron Rodgers there, I mean, this team really could elevate. I don't think it's anywhere in between. The Jets are either going to be great or they're going to disappoint. So
Yeah, we're going to talk about it more in the next segment because it's going to be it's going to be interesting there to see what the expectations are going to be for the Jets. But anyway, halftime in Detroit, the lines are up 10-3. Look like Jamar Gibbs may have gotten a touchdown there, and that's going to be good for. I think I have him in one of my fantasy leagues there, so that's always good to see. So. Let's see. I'll tell you what. I think it's break time, AJ. So we'll take a break. When we come back, we're gonna wrap up the show, get you ready for Monday Night Football, and recap some of the scores from earlier today. You listen to the Mean Gene Show right here on ESPN 97.5.
You're listening to the Mean Gene Show
on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5.
for the Veritex Community Bank Studios. Here's Mean Gene.
All right, we are back, moving it right along. The last segment here on this Sunday night, and a great day of football it was. And I got a text, and they said, "Well, I guess you just simply not going to talk about the Washington Commanders." And you know what? We didn't. We didn't mention that the Commanders took on the Buccaneers. The day the Buccaneers win,
Yeah.
they get because I was trying to think of that other team. Remember that NFC South? So the Tampa Bay Buccaneers win 37-20 over the Commanders, and then you just mentioned that Mike Evans had a great game today. And look, a lot of folks are going to look to see what Baker Mayfield is going to do. Can he he usually have a good year and a bad year and a good year and a bad year.
Right.
And apparently a good day. 24 of 30, 289 yards, 4 touchdowns, a 146.4 rating, and all eyes were on the rookie Jaden Daniels. That's the Heisman Trophy winner.
Right. Exactly.
He didn't have a bad day, but he didn't get the win. 17 to 24, 184 yards, 93.1 quarterback rating. So I mean, big win for Baker Mayfield. Look, the targets are there. Mike Evans targeted 6 times, 5 receptions, 61 yards, 2 touchdowns. So he's just a big guy. I remember talking with him before they played that Super Bowl against the Chiefs, and he's always one that is never nervous, or he's just ready. He's just ready. You throw him the ball, he'll catch it. He is still a big guy. Played his football at Texas Tech, I do believe.
Texas A&M.
Yeah,
And from Galveston, Texas A&M.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes. So anyway, man. So I didn't see this game because I was getting ready to make the drive down here to the station, and
Right.
A big win there. And so not only are the Saints 1-0 in that NFC South, but so it's the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers win that division last year, by the way, and big win. I don't know what to say. I didn't have Washington winning this game. I don't think, but I was impressed with what Baker Mayfield did today.
Right, for sure, exactly. And that's my dad's team too, so I know he was happy. He was always like, everybody talking about the Falcons and stuff, let us fly under the radar and stuff like that. So I mean, that's a good thing for them. They have a really underrated team. I mean, I think I forgot Jacob's predictions. I think, did y'all both pick the Falcons to win the division, or?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think we
so-
both picked the Falcons to win the division, and
Mhm.
and man, looking at, like I say, it's only week 1, okay, but I mean, a lot can be discussed in week 1 because
Right.
we might find ourselves talking about it. Remember what happened in week 1,
Exactly.
and that it could make or break somebody's season. I know it's premature, but when you come to division games here, it does matter. This was not a division, but you definitely want to see what the other guys are doing. So let's just talk about some off the field stuff that took place today. So Dak Prescott, this $250 million contract. What is it? How many years is it?
4 years.
4 years. It was a $80 million signing bonus, $231 million guaranteed.
Yep.
So Dak Prescott is the richest player in NFL history.
Right now. I'm conflicted about it for sure. I mean, obviously, you want to have a quarterback. You don't want to be in purgatory like some of these teams. So that's the main thing about it. But ultimately, what are you going to do in the postseason? I mean, we talked about it briefly earlier about the Cowboys. Even today, the defense looked great. All things working on one accord. Of course, playing against the Browns team, I saw a lot of people pick the Browns beforehand to win that game. Of course, it's one game like we talked about,
Right.
but still, we'll see with the Cowboys because they really do have enough, even though they lost some pieces and things of that nature. But if they can play like how they did today in the postseason, I mean, things could happen because I'm tired of them losing the first and second round. I was born in 2002. They haven't been in the championship game since 95-96 season, man. It's time to do something, please, God. And now you have Dak for 5 more years. So, I mean, it's time.
Big win on the road against the Cleveland Browns defense. One reason why Deshaun Watson didn't have a good game was because of the Dallas Cowboys defense.
Thank you for saying that because everybody's just trying to make it seem like Deshaun played bad. That defense is real.
No, that defense is
For sure.
is good. So I mean, hey, just a good win there, but a good win for Dak Prescott because look, Jerry Jones has shelled out almost $500 million in a matter of a week.
Exactly.
So,
He sure has, and then he got Micah to
and
pay
he
next
still
year.
got Micah Parsons.
Right.
Parsons probably won't get in the $200 million range. But right now, I mean, between three players, he's very north of, $1 billion with
Exactly.
these players. And by the way, the Mega Millions is up to 800 million.
Oh,
So
really?
that's a lot of money. So just what you can do with $800 million is you can buy 3 NFL players, 3 good ones,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah, and still
And
has some change
yeah,
over.
so it's just amazing. So anyway, big contract. So some of the immediate feedback and responses to games that took place today. The Pittsburgh Steelers, Mike Tomlin is already mum on whether or not uh, who's going to be the quarterback for Week 2. So, yeah, I mean, because remember, it was all the kicker today. It was all Chris Boswell. So I can understand why he would be in that situation because, but this calf injury, when you're in your 30s and Russell Wilson is an older guy now, I tend to think that wouldn't be surprised if Justin Fields starts again.
Right, and that's been the one thing. I mean, everybody's been saying before the season started, start Russell Wilson and then ultimately let Fields come in. I mean, and with this lingering calf injury of Russell Wilson, I mean, you wonder if he'll have the opportunity. I mean, if you just want to keep Justin Fields, but you have to see more out of Justin Fields. Can't hold the ball too long. We know how talented of an athlete that he is. So, I mean, we'll see under Arthur Smith because he's been able to incorporate players and elevate players like a Ryan Tannehill in the past. So, hopefully, Justin Fields can get that. It's just really with him just getting everything right in the passing game.
Yeah, reporters don't waste no time. I mean,
Exactly.
I would be asking the same questions. And another question I would be asking because we talked about the performance of Daniel Jones, and the reporters in New York didn't waste any time asking Brian Dable would he consider benching Jones, and he says it's not even in his mind.
Ooh,
So
well,
that's
winning isn't either. So.
look. I mean, that's a quick response to a question because you don't know what kind of questions are going to come at you, but you should know that New York media, which is pretty brutal at times. So I'm not really surprised at all. I think he would have to say that, but I think that if something was to develop in practice, I don't know who the backup quarterbacks is, so I don't know who Jones is competing against. It may not be any answer to the
Right.
Giants.
Wasn't it Drew Lock? I think he signed with the Giants, so it might be him.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think so. Came over from he started with Seattle, went to Denver, and
Started with Denver, went to Seattle.
it started with Denver. Yeah,
Mhm.
went to Seattle, and
Right.
then so I mean, hey, we'll see because it is early, and I get it. I get that you don't want to have what we call the knee jerk reaction to what was a bad performance, but you do have to be concerned. And it was a legitimate question to ask. Uh, would you consider benching this guy? Because he's not playing like a NFL starting quarterback. So I don't blame him. So look, tomorrow night, AJ, it's going to be the 49ers hosting the New York Jets. Hopefully, we will see Aaron Rodgers for 60 minutes of that game. We all know what happened at the start of his tenure with the Jets last year. I think he's very eager to get out there and prove things. I think that offensive line knows what they're up against. They got to protect Aaron Rodgers if the Jets are to have any success this year. But the 49ers are coming off a Super Bowl loss,
Right.
coming into the season with some, Christian McCaffrey, being sort of injured during the preseason. Always something to worry about. The number one most drafted person in fantasy football. And we all saw the Brandon Ayuk situation, how it played out. So, um, who you got tomorrow night?
I think the safe pick will be the 49ers, but I wouldn't be surprised at all if the Jets sent a message to the league and won the game. I mean, it really just depends on how things go. I mean, but obviously the 49ers, they have Ayuk back. The biggest signing, in my opinion, is bringing back Trent Williams to keep
Yes.
that left side secure. So I think the safe pick would be the 49ers. But if the Jets can at least, if they do lose, keep it competitive, I would be pleased with their performance for sure. But I have the 49ers winning.
What I'm really looking forward to is the relationship between Aaron Rodgers and Robert Saleh because I just don't think it really exists. I think Saleh gets, a pass last year because Rodgers got hurt. I just don't see the chemistry there. And if the Jets do lose tomorrow, let's say if it is a significant loss there, believe me, you will hear a lot of rhetoric and rumblings coming from New York, and I think Aaron Rodgers has a lot of clout and a lot of pull, and so I don't want to say anything about Salah's job, but I just think let's just watch this game tomorrow night and see. I got the 49ers winning. I just think you don't lose the Super Bowl and start the year off with a loss, especially on your home field, and they got to know that some of these home team visiting teams came to play today,
Right.
and I think they'll be ready.
Absolutely, I agree. I mean, for the 49ers, I mean, as a Cowboys fan, I do not like the 49ers. And no one talks about how it's been longer that they won a Super Bowl since we have, because I guess because they have playoff success, but that doesn't matter if
Because
you keep losing.
they've been in Super Bowl,
Right.
So
Keep losing.
you
That's
know,
the thing.
yeah, they keep losing. You got to get there.
Gotta
You
not.
can't keep losing to the same team.
Right, exactly. Because then next year you're gonna have to pay Brock Purdy, and then can you keep
Oh,
Debo
yeah,
eventually?
you're gonna have to pay him. So,
Exactly.
all right, folks, that's gonna do it for week 1. Cannot wait to. I think we're gonna have Jacob Meadows back here next week, and AJ will be here. I'll be here. We will continue to do what we do here on the Mean Gene Show right here on ESPN 97.5. Enjoy your Monday Night Football tomorrow. Yep, I'm not gonna win this game.